In this video, I'm going to talk about the fastest way for new health coaches to get their first clients without using social media. So, social media, we often think it's like this magic tool where you will announce your business and people will magically find you and they will want to work with you. And I feel like a lot of coaching programs kind of paint this picture, or a lot of business coaches, or we just see this out there. And so when we start a business, we really think like, okay, I'm going to announce it. I'm going to tell people what I'm doing on social media, and I'm going to get all these clients. And I just want to tell you that this is not how it works for anyone, okay? And so social media is not really the answer to getting clients. It can be part of your marketing strategy, a small part and a specific part. But for most health coaches, it's really not a great way to get you clients, okay? So what is the best way when you're first getting started? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. And this way works. And it works fast. And it really is the number one best thing to start with when you are building your business, okay? So who am I? I am Dr. Kristen Hartjes. I am a former chiropractor and functional medicine practitioner turned health coach, turned business coach. I have been helping health practitioners and health coaches build successful coaching businesses for the past decade. So what do you use to get started, and how do you get your first clients? So the best way is to use your warm market, okay? So what is your warm market? Your warm market means people that you are already connected to in some way. So it could be friends, it could be family, it could be coworkers, it could be social groups that you're a part of, it could be your kids, friends, parents, it could be people from the PTA at school, it could be people from your soccer team or from your art class or from your hiking group. So it's people you already know, okay? And a lot of times I find that health coaches want to skip using their warm market because it can feel intimidating, because a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, what are people going to think of me? Are they going to think I'm not, qualified enough? Or who am I to start this business? And it just, of course, we care more about what the people we know think of us, right? As opposed to strangers. So that's why a lot of times people are like, ooh, I'm just going to put it on social media, and it feels less scary, especially if you go and you create a different account where no one knows you on social media and you put it out there, right? Because like no one that you know is seeing what you're doing. And so it feels way less scary. And the problem is you are missing out on a huge opportunity. And when I say your warm market, I don't mean that you need to work with your family necessarily, or that you need to work with your best friends, right? Because sometimes that doesn't necessarily work great in a coaching relationship. But I also think you shouldn't discard working with some of these people, because I've had a lot of coaches that I have worked with who have had amazing success working with family members or with friends, okay? So you can kind of figure out if that feels like a good fit for you. And obviously it may depend on who these people are, right? Like your family members and your friends. But this is a great place to start. And why it's a great place to start is because these people already know, like, and trust you, and will be much more likely to want to work with you then. Because the thing I want you to realize is that when you are working with a cold market, which means people who have no idea who you are, you've never met them before, you don't have the know, like, and trust factor, and you need to build that up with them. And so it is going to take time and effort and typically content as far as like some sort of marketing and a way for people to get to know who you are and what it is you do and how you help them. And it takes time to do that. And so, I mean, just to give you an example, what I have seen over the past decade of working with people is that a lot of my clients have been following me for a period of time before they become a client. Sometimes it's a couple days, but much more often it's a number of weeks. And I would say for a lot of my clients personally, it's a number of months and sometimes even a year or more that someone has followed me and has found me to being warmed up enough to want to work with me. Okay. And so sometimes it can be that shorter cycle, but sometimes it's that longer cycle of someone having to have followed you for quite a while to really build that know, like, and trust factor to a point where they want to work with you and they feel ready to reach out to you. Sometimes this can just be how ready that person is too. Like, are they in a place in their life where they're like really ready to make this happen? They're ready to make the changes. They're at a point where they want to do something about it now. Sometimes someone isn't at that place when they first find you and they have to get warmed up to that. But that's really the benefit of using that warm market. Those people already know, like, and trust you. Or this is where referrals really come into place, right? Like, our friends and family are great referrals as far as referring people to us to work with. And you know, like, if you think about anytime I get a referral, let's say like I ask my good friend who they use to get their hair cut, right? Like, I've seen her hair, it looks good, that's why I'm asking her. So already I trust the hairstylist that she's referring me to, right? So this is really the huge benefit of getting referrals. And referrals are amazing because there already is that know, like, and trust factor because the person is getting sent to you from someone that person knows, likes, and trusts, right? So referrals are one of the very, very best ways to get clients. So this is a great way to put it out there too. It isn't always just looking like, hey, I'm trying to get clients from my friends and the people I already know. Like, let people know what it is you do so that they can send people your way. And this is going to bring me to what is really important to get referrals or to get clients in general is having an ideal client. Okay. How specific your ideal client is going to vary. And when you are using your warm market, you can afford to be a little more general with your ideal client because you already have that know, like, and trust factor, and those people already know you. And if you see someone and you explain to them what you do and how you can help them, you can tailor what you're saying to that specific person's problem. Okay. This is the difference between, like, if you're marketing to a cold audience versus marketing to a warm audience. You can be a little bit more general as far as your ideal client. And this is something I always help people figure out. But the really important thing to understand is people aren't typically looking for a health coach. They're not looking to hire a health coach. They're looking to solve a problem. And so you want to be able to understand and explain who you work with and what you help them with. You want to know what is the biggest problem that they have right now in their life. How is that negatively impacting their life? What is it that someone wants to achieve? And how would that make their life better? Okay, you need to be able to explain this so that people see the benefit of working with you. And then you also need to be able to explain how you help people get from point A, which is where they are now, to point B, which is where they want to go. Okay, how do you kind of explain that as far as what your program looks like? And I have a number of videos on figuring out your niche or your ideal client and also your program. So I will link those. Those are things that I really help my clients figure out too, because those can be kind of like tricky to kind of dive into yourself. But it's important to understand that. How do you explain what you do to people in a way that they get it? They get it. Okay. So how you know if you have this on point is when you explain what you do, people say like, oh my gosh, I need that. Or, oh, my sister Carolyn needs that. Like that would be perfect for her. If you are telling people what it is you do and they're staring at you like this, okay, like that, like, or they're just like nodding their head, but they don't really have any follow-up questions, or they're not like, oh, that sounds like something that would be really helpful, or I know someone that would find that really helpful, then you know that how you're explaining it is not quite on point, okay? It's not to the point where it's making people like, I get it, okay? So you wanna make sure that you have really this said in a way that people get it and they're like, oh yeah, I need that, okay? So, okay, so once you have that down, how do we share this with our warm market, right? So this is, oh, the other piece I want to add in. So the other piece that can be really important as far as when we start sharing this and when we share it with our warm market is understanding your story and how it relates to who you're working with and what you're helping them with, okay? Because people want to know why you're doing what you're doing and what brought you to this point. Why are you passionate about it? Why do you want to help people with this health issue or with losing weight or with whatever it is you're helping people with? Your story really helps create that connection. So being able to explain this as well, depending on the circumstances, I think is really helpful. So how do we share it to our warm market then? So I always recommend and help my clients like draft a bit of a written, let's say it could be an email, it could be a message. We'll talk about the different ways you could share it to share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever seems appropriate to share this with. Obviously you can decide, but I think the more people you share it with, the better. And you may kind of change what it is you're saying depending on who you're sharing it with. But we do want to put it out to the world and let people know what it is you're doing. Typically in the announcement, we want to share a little bit about your story, why you're doing what you're doing, who it is you work with, what you help people with, and maybe a little bit about how you help people. So this kind of means like your technique, your program. And then let people know like, hey, I'm taking clients, and I'm also looking for referrals. So if you know anyone who fits this description, please send them my way, okay? And you can share this. You could send it to people in a text message. You could send it to people in an email. You could share it on social media. Yes, not a requirement, but you can do this. And this is a really great way. You could just tell people about it too, right? You don't have to do it in a written way. You could just start telling people. And it's always good if you do send like a written thing to do a follow-up with people where you actually meet with them and you explain to them more about what it is you do. Because when people really understand it, they're going to be much more likely to actually refer people to you. So this is how most of my clients get their first clients, is through their warm market. And truthfully, when I was doing functional medicine, it is how I got all my first clients when I started my business. I mean, my parents sent me people. I had friends and family that sent me people. It was all my first clients were through word of mouth. So my first clients. You have to go beyond that, of course, but first clients, that's a great way to get your first clients. But you gotta let people know what it is you do, and you gotta be excited about it, and you have to be confident about it, because otherwise no one's gonna send you people. So those pieces are all really important, right? So knowing your program and pricing, feeling confident about like your structures and the way to do it so that you have that confidence so that people want to send people to you. You gotta be excited, you gotta be confident about it. If your energy is all weird, like people aren't gonna wanna send people to you, okay? So really important. The other thing to keep in mind is you don't want to be convincing people. This is a mistake. Avoid this. Do not convince people to work with you. There's never a need to try to convince people. You want the people who are excited about what you're doing. They're already looking for it. They're already looking to make changes. Don't convince people. If there's any convincing, it's not the right person. Move on, okay? And then the last piece, letting go of attachment. I talked about that energy piece. You also don't want to be like needy, like I need clients, I need you to work with me. You really want it to be like this open, I'm excited about it, I'd love to help you if you're interested in it. If you're not, like that's totally okay. If you know anyone, like send them my way. I'm super excited to help people with this. But no like needy attachment energy. This is why it's really good to be in a good place financially when you're starting your business, so that you're not needing clients and you have this weird like I need you to become my client energy, because that is really a turn off, right? We want to be inviting people in to want to work with us, not like this weird kind of like grabby energy. Okay. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I didn't cover. This can be super successful. I'll just give you like an example. I had one client who we drafted a post that she actually shared. She did share it on social media, but she also sent it out in an email to people she knew. And the post included her story and why she is doing what she was doing, included an explanation of who she was working with. She got really specific. She was specific about helping menopausal women lose weight. She put that out there. Literally, she booked like 25 consults from her warm market. Okay, this doesn't always happen. Like it's different for everyone. It kind of depends on who your warm market is, who you're helping people, who it is that you're working with, and just a lot of different things, but it can be super, super successful. Like she ended up booking up her whole one-to-one practice really quickly and moving on to a group program. She has so much interest. And like I said, this is different for everyone, but I have a lot of clients, if they are confident and they put it out there and they tell their warm market, they do at least get one, if not more people through warm market connections. Okay. So definitely don't avoid this, put it out there, let people know what you're doing. It's also just energetically a way to like say, hey, I'm serious about this. I'm not hiding it. I'm open about it, and I'm letting people know what I'm doing. Okay. So I'd love to hear from you. Have you used your warm market when it comes to building your coaching business? If you have, let me know in the comments how it's worked out for you. If you haven't, what is stopping you from doing it? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're interested in diving deeper into the steps to building your business, especially as an introvert, I have a free training that walks you through that. It's a video and it's really good and it's brand new, so check it out. I will link it below. And thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time.